Welcome to the CL Brown Show. I am your host, CL Brown, columnist with the Louisville Courier-Journal. On this episode of the show, I'll be joined by Kentucky offensive lineman Josh Braun, a 6'6", 342-pound guard who transferred in after spending 3 years at Florida and 2 years at Arkansas, and is here to help reestablish what has been known as the Big Blue Wall, that UK offensive line. But before we jump into the interview with Josh, let's slide into CL Sounds Off. You may not have heard, but the University of Oklahoma is now selling access to its post-game press conferences for football. And I know this is a new day and age in college football, in college sports in general, where colleges are looking for different revenue streams. They're looking for ways to make more money because they are now sharing revenue with their athletes up to $20.5 million this season, and it will increase by, I believe, 4% next year and throughout the length of this first iteration. But I don't think this is the right way to do it, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it's not the right way to do it. I should say, if done right, it can be okay. But I just feel like there are too many things that can go wrong with allowing the general public access to press conferences. And the first thing I'll say is I hope that Oklahoma has parameters in place where these fans must stay silent. It must be something where they observe what's being said and what's being asked, as opposed to trying to be a fan, trying to be an active participant in the press conference. Now, I've been in press press conferences before where some fans were let in. Usually, it's been like bowl situations and that kind of thing. And at the end of the press conferences, they clap and things of that nature, which for a working journalist, you'd never really like to see or hear. And I know that's really limited just to journalists instead of John Q fans, but I do think that if you have someone who has to ask a tough question and the fans don't like the question being asked, if they actively boo that person. Or it could just be someone they don't like who has written about the program for years. And as soon as they introduce themselves, ask the question, that could set off some fans. There are just moments like that. I feel like that could go wrong in this situation. In the flip side, they could cheer a coach's or a player's response to a question, and the game has already been played. We don't need a second game being played in press conferences. But as I said, I hope that Oklahoma will set forth some parameters that have to be followed for these fans who will have access. And I believe the first game is already sold out in terms of their media access. And these tickets aren't cheap either. It seems like the cheapest price that I saw was more than $400 for access. So OU is not playing around in terms of trying to generate revenue and find a different stream for this. But I just think there are other ways to try and go about it. But hopefully we won't have any conflict during this season. Hopefully it goes smoothly, but I just don't think it's the right way to go. That'll do it for Sound Off. Now let's jump into the interview. Now I'd like to welcome to the show Kentucky offensive lineman Josh Braun. Josh, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
I wanted to start this off with the fact that you, unlike a lot of your teammates right now, are married in college playing football. When did you get married? First, I just going to want to get the timeline right.
Yeah, so I got married 3 years ago this past June. So that would be June 18th, 2022.
Okay,
It was
happy
right before
anniversary.
my, oh, thank
Belated.
you. It was right before my third season in college. And so, yeah, no, it was great. We had a short engagement. We actually got engaged on my 21st birthday, which is in January. And then we had about 6 months to plan the wedding. And then we wanted to get everything done before the season started. And with college football, you're only off, you have like 2 weeks off every year. And that's either at the end of the season or sometime it's either in the spring or the summer. And so we looked at it and we were like, we can't do the spring because that's in like 3 months. So we just waited till June and we had a beautiful wedding.
That's great. How does that kind of shape your football and your academic life as a student? I mean, I would imagine you don't have a lot of time as is, and now you have a wife to take care of too.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. I mean, she's been very understanding of my responsibilities as a student athlete, and she understands like take this time of year for instance. And when I'm in training camp, she's very supportive. She understands that there are going to be long days where I'm not at home, and she's willing to let me go get treatment if that means maybe we're not going to be able to go out to dinner this night. But I try to make it a point to always make it up to her. I mean, she. Throughout this process, I mean, while we've been married, I've transferred twice. I moved her from Florida to Arkansas, then from Arkansas to Kentucky, and she's been very understanding and very supportive, which I'm extremely thankful for. Honestly, I don't think I could have done 6 years in college football without her, and I hope one day I'm able to repay her for all the support she's given me. And I mean, she loves me and I love her, and we just are living this life together.
No doubt. That's awesome. Now, but given how I know how locker room culture is, what kind of nicknames have the guys given you being kind of the married old man of the team?
No. A lot of guys just call me, a lot of the younger players call me Unc just because, I mean, I'm 24. I think I'm closer in age to some of our support staff, like some of
Yeah.
the athletic trainers than I am to the freshmen. And so I think it was sometime in March, I was sitting at lunch with the nutritionist and the assistant nutritionist, and we were all closer in age than I was to the freshman tackle and the freshman guard. And it's definitely an interesting dynamic for me to navigate. But I mean, they keep me young. I mean, they like all the meme culture nowadays. I'm getting too old. I don't really understand it. Like the whole 6'7" thing. I don't quite get it, but they love it, and so sometimes I'll try to play into it for them. But other than that, I guess I really am Unc.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really get the 6'7" thing
It
either,
doesn't make any
so
sense to
it
me. I'm
doesn't make
sorry, but
any
it
sense.
doesn't. Uh,
It's funny to
that's how you
somebody
know I'm
though.
getting old.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got one other thing I want to dip into before we get into the football part of it. But the fact that you want to pursue a doctorate in theology, can you take me behind what has shaped you in that aspect of your life and what kind of sent you in that direction?
Yes, sir. So, a little bit about my background. Both of my grandfathers were pastors, and my uncle was a pastor. And so I grew up in the church. And because of that, I mean, when your uncle's a pastor, you kind of when there are pastors in your family, you get to look behind the scenes of how a church operates and the things that go on behind the scenes that they need to take care of. And so what drew me to theology is I love talking about the Bible. I love examining the original languages, Hebrew and Greek, and that's kind of why I got my degree in classical studies, just to get a little introduction to classical education. And ultimately, I couldn't take Greek with my football schedule, so I had to take Latin. But that kind of was my introductory course into theology. But I mean, if you go to my family whenever we get together, holidays or just on a weekend when they come up for games, we talk theology almost 85% of the time. It
Oh, wow.
My wife gets tired of it because we went and visited my brother two separate instances for probably 3 days over the course of both times, and we talked theology for about 8 hours over the course of 3 days. And so it's just something I'm passionate about. When people say, "Find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life." If I can talk theology, study theology, and then share the gospel with people, I feel like that's something I'll enjoy doing, and I can serve and honor God in that way.
Yeah, do the two kind of cross in terms of using maybe your favorite Bible verse for preparation into going into a game or anything like that? Like, do you have something you inscribe on your ankle tape or your shoe or anything like that? Or
No, not really. All the programs I've been a part of. in the past they haven't allowed us to write anything on our hand tape or ankle tape or anything, and so I never sat down and thought about it. Um, but I mean, I guess that's something I'll have to think about. I mean, I want when people see me as a player, because of the podium I'm on, because of the reach I can have as an athlete, I just want them to be pointed towards God. And I hope I live that out every day, even though I know I don't. I mean, I'm a fallen, broken sinner just like the rest of us, but I hope that when people see me and the things that I do and how I carry myself, I hope at least people get interested about Christ and about the Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to transition into football now specifically. So you alluded to it earlier, playing at both Florida and Arkansas and now at Kentucky. What was your impression of UK from being in the SEC and, from the outside looking in? And since you've been in Lexington, has it met your expectations?
Yeah, no, when I played at Florida, you know, we thought it was a bigger rivalry than Kentucky did, I guess.
Hmm.
Because when I played at Florida, like the Kentucky game was a big one. Like you had to win at Kentucky. And so my first year we played Kentucky and we expected to win and we ultimately were having trouble until Kadarius Toney was able to return a punt for a touchdown and then ball bounced our way and we were able to win. And so the next year we carried that same mentality. We're like, oh, we're gonna win because we're Florida. And we got to Lexington and they punched us in the mouth and we lost. And I feel like that's the culture that I've learned here at Kentucky is they're blue collar and nobody in the SEC thinks much of us and that's just the way it is. And it's up to us to change the narrative. It's up to us to change people's minds. And so being here in Lexington, I mean, it's totally different than I thought it was. It's a much bigger city. It's probably the biggest city I've ever lived in. And I've enjoyed that aspect of it because not only is there the city part of it, you can also get out of the city and you can go to Keeneland, you can go all over the countryside. I mean, it's a beautiful area, and I think that in and of itself is one of the perks about being at Kentucky is it's just a beautiful place to live. And I mean, yeah, the football is football. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to go to practice when you're passing a beautiful city.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that's my thoughts of Lexington.
Yeah, yeah. So you're coming into a situation where I believe potentially, I don't know if Coach Soups has named the starters or Coach Hamden, but it looks like it's going to be four new starters on the offensive line, yourself being one of them, all coming from the transfer portal. What is it like, just in general, and this being your second transfer, to come into a unit where you're trying to kind of get that continuity as on the run since you've never
Hmm.
played with these guys before?
Yeah, I mean, I think to start with, the starting spot is never earned. You are chasing that every day. I mean, you can be replaced. I mean, in the NFL, you can be replaced in an instant. And so I think we have to carry that mentality that we're never satisfied. We're never, oh, these are the starters, these are the twos. That's just the way it is for the rest of the season. I mean, the twos have done a great job, or the people running with the twos have done a great job of pushing the people running with the ones and being like, hey, look, you mess up, I'm right there. I'm willing and ready to take your job. And the people running with the ones have to be willing and ready to do whatever it takes to keep their job. And I think if we can maintain that mentality, not just throughout camp, but throughout the season, you'll see us get better each and every week. And that's how a lot of people peak at the middle of the season. And I think if you keep that mentality of straining to earn your spot day in and day out, that's how you can get people who are just constantly rising until the end of the season. And then when you look back, you're happy about where you are. And I think the people around the team and the players themselves have done a great job of welcoming in the new transfers, especially in January, and then the new spring transfers as well. As somebody who's transferred twice in the past, I've seen it's very difficult to be a transfer and not step on anyone's toes because the guy that you are essentially coming in to take their job has been a friend and a brother to the team since they got there. And so if you come in guns a-blazing, it's going to be a bad situation for everyone involved. And so I think you have to come in and not be arrogant. You have to earn the respect of everyone in the building. And to the credit of the people in the building and the players, they allowed us to be ourselves. And they didn't we had to uphold the standard of Kentucky, but they didn't bring anyone who wasn't going to uphold that standard. They wanted a very specific type of person and player and athlete. And the players allowed us to come in. I mean, Jagger Burton has done an incredible job of each and every one of the transfers, showing them the traditions of Kentucky, showing them the little things of what it means to be a Kentucky offensive lineman, a part of the Big Blue Wall. And so I'm very thankful to Jagger just allowing me to be a part of his offensive line and how he has welcomed me, Wooly, Pete, all of us just to be a part of a tradition and a culture as rich as Kentucky and the Big Blue Wall.
Yeah, so I was gonna bring up the big blue wall. We've heard that phrase thrown around some in preseason in terms of maybe the past couple of years. It hadn't been what has
Mhm.
defined the offensive line during Coach Stoops' tenure there. When you think of big blue wall, what are kind of the characteristics that you feel like have to be in place for this to be like official?
Relentless, hardened, intense, nasty. I mean, we have to embody each of those characteristics every play. And I think during training camp is where you hone your body, you get game ready. And I think ultimately it's all about your performance on Saturday. And if you're not doing what you need to be doing in practice, you're not going to be able to live up to the expectation on Saturday. I mean, you're driving people off the ball, you're finishing blocks, you're pushing the pile. When the running back makes a great run and they tackle him, you pick him up and you say, all right, let's go get him the next play. I think we have to be one unit operating as basically a five-fingered machine. I mean, we need to be on the same page each and every down. Especially with the offense we're running, we're going to have to, the whole offense is going to have to be on the same page. And that comes down to communication. That comes down to knowing who you're playing beside inside and out. I need to know how Jagger steps on each play, how Pete steps on each play, how Pete's going to set based on the look we have. And if we can move as one and use that to our advantage, I feel like we'll be upholding the Big Blue Wall standard.
Yeah. So in addition to getting used to the guys you're playing with on the line, you're also going
Mhm.
to have a new quarterback calling the signals back there. What's the harder adjustment? Getting used to, and there's still a quarterback battle going on, really. So,
Mhm.
what's the harder adjustment? Getting used to who's taking those snaps behind you and even the running backs how they like to pick their holes and that kind of thing, or just kind of getting in sync as you just mentioned with the other
Yeah.
guys on the line.
Every play starts with the cadence, and I feel like Calzada and Cutter have done a great job of making their cadences sound the same. And I feel like when people have multiple quarterbacks, you see them run into the issues of whatever the cadence may be, quarterback one pauses half a second longer than quarterback two, and that's when a lot of people flinch. Because I mean, as an offensive lineman, I heard somebody say that we're the worst athletes on the field, and I mean that may be true. And because of that, you're going to have to, in some situations, some offensive linemen jump the count, and because of that, if the cadence is messed up, you're going to jump off sides. And so they've done a great job of mirroring their cadence to each other and matching it up. And that's why we honestly don't really notice when one quarterback's in or the other one is in. It flows very smoothly.
Mhm. So, you've been around the SEC kind of, from both the East and the West, if you will. What are your favorite road trips to take in this league?
I'm very excited to go back to South Carolina. I
South
played South
Carolina.
Carolina at night. It was one of the most electric stadium experiences I've been a part of. And honestly, we got our face kicked in. So I'm hoping to I'm hoping to have a good memory about South Carolina, and I don't have to finish with, oh yeah, we lost that game, but it was awesome. Um, I know Kentucky fans are going to hate to hear it, but I love playing Tennessee at Tennessee. I feel like if you can go into Tennessee and get a win, it's one of the greatest feelings you'll ever have. I mean, you've got 100,000 angry, drunk Tennessee fans yelling at you because you came and whipped them. I mean, it's a great feeling. One place that I'm excited to play is the University of Georgia. I've never played at
Okay.
Georgia. When I was at Florida, we always would play in Jacksonville, and I feel like actually after I play Georgia, that'll be the last SEC stadium that was a part of the SEC when I played,
Yeah.
when I started that I haven't played in. Uh, I've been to I've been to Texas's stadium, but I've never been to Oklahoma's stadium.
Okay.
And the two places I hate to play at Ole Miss, and I hate to play at Mississippi State.
Why?
And the
Why?
people who've played at those two games know why, because you stay in Tupelo, it's about an hour away. No matter what, you got an hour bus ride to the stadium and then an hour bus ride back, and it's just they probably have the best home field advantage just because of that.
Indeed. Well, I'll let you go on this. I wanted to kind of get your prediction of the season without getting to actual numbers, but what to you does success look like this year for Kentucky football?
I've had a coach say in the past, success on a season depends on if you're better at the end of the season than you were at the beginning. And I know a lot of fans want to hear wins and losses, but us as a team, to be successful, we have to be better at the end of the season than we were at the beginning. And I feel like if we strive to meet that every day in practice, if we don't take any game lightly, if we try to uphold the big blue wall standard or the Kentucky standard, and we strive to get better every day, at the end of the year, we'll look back and we'll be happy with where we are. I mean, football's a fickle sport. The ball bounces one way, you lose, bounces the other way, you win. And so to put a season success on a win and loss is a little too uh, unstable for me right now. But I would say we gotta approach every day like it's our last and keep striving to get better. And hopefully at the end of the season, the fans are happy and we're happy.
Indeed, indeed. Josh Braun, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining the show and good luck to you this season. That will conclude another episode of the CL Brown Show. I'm going to postpone starting back with pickup lines where I predict the spreads of college football games until it's officially week one. So next week's episode, I'll start back with pickup lines, but I'll just observe, take my own advice in terms of the preseason poll. I'll observe what goes on in week zero so I can make more informed decisions as the games get a full slate. But you can always check my columns on courier-journal.com. Please click on the follow buttons to subscribe to the podcast and please leave 5-star reviews because we need more love in this world. If not, just sit back, relax, wait till next Wednesday when a new episode drops. Thank you again for tuning in.